People are definitely afraid of a lot of things. Just the basic premise of fear that is throughout society is because it's a mechanism that people use to get what they want. It's basically a smoke screen, and the sin of it is very deep, because when you make a person fear, it echoes, and you usually let them wallow in that. So what's happening each time this fear tactic gets used in every direction, it's just flying like shrapnel chaotically, you create a total atmosphere of fear across the globe, just population-wise. It just continues. It just breeds and feeds on itself. The fear is such a enormous, sinful practice, because it takes people away from their true power. But hold on a second here. Isn't that a good thing to some extent? Because you don't want people getting bigger than their britches. Why is God connected with the devil? If you seek to make a definition for God, you say, well, God is the creator, right? Just makes everything. All life proceeds from God. So therefore the devil is part of it. So the devil comes from God. And the devil continues to exist because God allows that. So isn't the devil about fear? But they also say you must fear God. And what does that mean, that use of the word fear? It's a different thing, but a good, healthy fear of God means you're staying in line. You're obeying the natural order of harmony and unfear, being unafraid of life. You're going to follow that, because if you don't, the invoking of fear upon you, the invoking of making you terrified, making you fear death, fear judgment, fear torture and hell. How does that get done? So there's this other traditional, mythological, religious, fairy tale-ish thing to the atheist, to where the devil is running hell. Is he in charge of hell? Is he the Lord and Master of hell? Or is he in hell, being punished in hell along with everybody else? So these things are really confusing and twisted. It's almost like the opposites are equal to each other, like black is white. So we have to kind of try to unravel this thing and be in a center that is absolute. So the absolute is against duality, and it's hard for the human mind to grapple with, just like my hair is hard for me to grapple with if I don't tend it. It just has lots of strands going around, and it's not like unified. Duality comes out of trying to see the world in black and white and opposites, good and evil, and you divide things and you say, this thing's against that, like God is against the devil, and that's where fear comes from. Well, fear is starting from the point of being separate from God. So the solution that a lot of spiritual minds, spiritual thinking, spiritual exercise does, meditation, is to join you with that. Yoga is defined as oneness with the divine. We want to pray, we want to contemplate, we want to go into the grotto or the temple, the altar, and like at one-ment. That's atonement. Atonement's a big ritual. Being at one, it's at one with God. So Hatha Yoga is Hatha, the sun with the moon, at one. The duality becomes unified again. So some people define the fear as coming from the unholy separation from God. And that's what the devil wants. That's what Satan actually is. It cuts you off from that until you fear so much that it's far away and you've dropped away from it. You've fallen. And if you can't get to it, it's a very scary situation, especially when you need it. You find a lot of atheists praying on their deathbed for God to forgive them, because all their life they've denied it. And when they're finally having to face how far away they've come from truth and the oneness, they do whatever they can in their mind to scramble that and come back to some sort of unity, some sensibility, instead of being divided from it. We are not divided from it. The trick in some of the Hindu thinking, the Buddhists, because they don't believe in God, they just believe in the self and the solipsism that it really is. Solipsism, look that up. I'm not a solipsist, but I understand solipsism premise. Okay? Fear is anything that you think is going to harm the self from its continual, eternal progression. Fear is just from that. So when you instill fear in somebody, where is it coming from? Can it be used as white magic, or can it be used as black magic, or can it be used as both? Or is it gray magic? Gray magic is where you are neutral. You put out a magic that is not going to play into either hands, or that's your intention of it. It's just a release of energy without playing aside, good or evil. But gray magic can also use fear, just like black magic or white magic. Fear is just a tactic to break a person down from their strength and power. And all strength and power has to come from the source of the ultimate life, energy, power, eternity, godliness, holiness. To use it, you're either doing it because someone needs to learn a lesson and become better, and they may be using their force and their willpower, their actions, everything can be used in the wrong way, and it's a judgment call to say that. If it's said that they are, and we have to put fear in them to make them stop, because sometimes that's the only way. How does this make any sense? This is philosophy, this is mysticism. You have to sit there and see it from a lot of different angles, but yet you try to keep a center on it. Like you're thinking that does it really matter? Well, eventually you have to decide that it does matter, or you continue to be like in this gray magic. And the sides will pull on you to go either way. It's said that the gray magic, or being neutral, is a terrible position, but to maintain it is a strategy. But it's an acknowledgement of the black magic and the white magic, the force of God and the force of the satanic. How does satanic, though, derive from that? Does it explain the use of fear? I want to get a discussion going here into spirituality and mysticism, because either I can't say because it would be too dangerous to release out these truths, or I don't know. And sometimes I think if I don't know, it's not capable of being known. It sounds a little bit arrogant, but if I've looked at something for years and years and years, and I ask everyone that I possibly can, and I don't come up with anything definite, then it must not be knowable. What is fear? Fear is a tactic to put an effect on the individuality, to see how separate indeed it is. A force of greater magnitude, greater amount, meeting up with another one will not fully cancel out, and there will be the resulting victorious force after all is said and done. And that force will be the victor, whether it's black magic or white magic. If it's used to put fear fighting fear, like fire versus fire, is definitely done. Is it of any use? Is it a good tactic, or do you fight fire with water? Do you fight fire with earth, or do you fight it with air? Can you blow out a fire? Well, if the fire is small enough, yeah. So you have to have a magnitude of great force. Can a person go back and forth, use the devil against God, and then use God against the devil, and back and forth? That's a double agent, right? I think I've said a whole bunch of things here that are true to the extent that use them in the context of trying to understand. But as far as, what you're doing, sometimes a person that's so proud of being a black magician is actually just doing it because they know that black magic is derived from the white magic. It has to be. There has to be a place where you decide if the chicken comes first or the egg comes first. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first? What is superior? What is always victorious? If the white magic in God is not victorious, how do we continue to exist? Because the black magic is just destructive. It uses fear to destroy. God only uses fear to bring someone back into line. The white magic is only used against someone to wake them up. We don't seek to destroy, we seek to convert. But, on the other hand, if someone's confused in the middle and they're in the process of evolving, all kinds of things can happen. It gets to be rather confusing. You don't know who's on what side. Anyhow, that's my message. This is me with glasses. This is me with a hat. Don't ever believe in video as being absolute. You have to meet me in person to get to the next level. And even then, you do not take this physical body, this garment with garments on it, these physical clothes. You don't take this as absolute. There's a spirit behind it even then. Then you have to meet with my spirit on the spirit level, in the spirit realm. Can you do that from wherever you are? Possibly, but I don't think we can invoke that through video. And I think that there's a mosquito trying to suck my blood because it's desperate and it's living in fear of its short life ending. But mosquitoes don't have individualized souls. They can't. They don't have brains. They don't have... Well, that's another discussion about animals. Let's go. Be well. Please discuss.